You never really know when your life is about to change. For me, it happened on a flight from Accra to Nairobi. I was exhausted, irritated, and ready to endure 5 hours of awkward silence with a stranger. What I didn't expect was for that stranger to be Amma Mensah. She had a way of filling the tiny airplane seat with so much energy that it felt like the entire cabin was drawn to her. I was Kwame Adu, reserved, pragmatic, and thoroughly unconvinced that love was anything but a distraction. "So, aisle or window?" she asked, flashing a mischievous grin that could have rivaled the sunrise outside. "Definitely aisle," I replied, not looking up from my book. "Well, that works. I'm a window person. Guess we're meant to share this row." It was the most exasperating and somehow the most entertaining conversation I'd had in years. By the time we landed, we talked about everything: work, childhood mischief, heartbreaks, and agreed on one thing: we were absolutely not meant for each other. A year passed before I saw Amma again, this time in Adoma, a quiet village nestled in Ghana's eastern region. My cousin was getting married, and I was in charge of setting up the venue. I was stacking chairs in the courtyard when I heard a familiar voice. "Kwame, is that you?" I turned, nearly knocking over the chairs. There she was in a flowing Kent dress, her laughter ringing through the air. Amma was a bridesmaid, of course. I was just the cousin of the groom. "So the world gets even smaller, huh?" she teased, sipping some sabolo. "Apparently," I muttered, smiling despite myself. That evening, we danced under the stars, arguing about the best way to make jollof rice. She swore by adding coconut milk. I called her a culinary rebel. Our paths kept crossing after that. Once at a cultural expo in Kigali, another time at a mutual friend's art gallery opening in Lagos. Each encounter felt like fate was playing a mischievous game. Eventually, we started texting and calling. Amma told me about her adventures rescuing stray dogs, and I told her about my dream of opening a small bookshop in Kumasi. We argued about everything from movies to plantain ripeness, but we couldn't seem to stop talking. 2 years later, Amma called me in tears. Her relationship with a guy named Nana had ended. "He never understood why I care so much about little things," she said, her voice breaking. I wanted to tell her I understood, but instead, I just listened. I moved to Cape Coast for a new job, and Amma stayed in Accra. Communication became sporadic, but when it did happen, it felt like no time had passed. One day, she showed up at my door in Abduri, suitcase in hand. "I needed to escape the city for a while," she said. "Hope you don't mind." We spent the weekend hiking through the botanical gardens, cooking together, and debating whether yam fries were better than sweet potato fries. Spoiler, they're not. 3 years in, we were both single. Sitting on the veranda of a lodge in Tamale, watching children play football, I almost told her how I felt. "Do you ever think?" I began, but stopped. "What?" she asked, leaning in slightly. "Never mind," I said, shaking my head. The moment passed, and I told myself it wasn't the right time. Our first real fight happened 6 months later. It was over something trivial, me forgetting to respond to one of her messages. "You're so distant, Kwame," she said angrily. "I'm not distant," I shot back. "I just don't know how to." I stopped myself. The call ended abruptly, and for a year, we didn't speak. We met again at a cultural festival in Wulugu, a small village in northern Ghana. Amma was leading a workshop on weaving, her passion for traditional crafts radiating through the room. I waited until the session ended before approaching her. "Hi, Amma," I said hesitantly. She turned, her expression softening. "Hi, Kwame." We shared a long overdue hug, and over bowls of tuwazafi, we talked about everything and nothing. On Harmattan's Eve, 7 years after that flight, I finally told her. "I've been in love with you since the day we met," I said, my voice trembling. Amma stared at me, her mouth slightly open. Then she laughed, wiping a tear. 7 years, Kwame? You're worse than the Harmattan winds, always late." Now, as I sit on the porch of our home in Ada, Amma is in the kitchen humming a tune while frying kelewel. It took us 7 years, countless cities, and 1,000 missed moments, but we finally found our way to each other. Sometimes love isn't about perfect timing. It's about persistence, patience, and finding the courage to finally say the words that matter most. Ready to improve your English in a fun and engaging way? Start learning through stories today. Subscribe to Learn with Godson and dive into captivating stories that will help you expand your vocabulary understand sentence structures, and practice pronunciation. Stories make learning English exciting and memorable. Join us on this journey and watch your language skills grow with each story. The voiceover in this video is given by Learn with Godson. Copying or re-uploading is prohibited.